So when I croak, we all know Betty right around the corner is going to take care of my body.
Right.
I know it's up to Owen whether I go in the ground or if I get put in a little box or something.
Right.
So if I get put into the ground though, and there's like that procession, I'm like, Benny, can you like open up your windows and play this as I'm going through town? Like, could you imagine this being my exit song? Do, 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 do. Like, how
and people
amazing.
are dancing
yes.
and hula hooping and roller skating. What is up, everybody, and welcome to another live show, another episode of Chris and Amanda's Song Swap Showdown. We are so happy that you could join us here today, whether you're watching us live and hanging out with us here, or checking out the replays over on YouTube, or listening to us on the go wherever you get podcasts. We are so appreciative that you would choose to spend some of your precious time with us. I am one of two of your hosts here today. My name is Chris, and I am joined by my amazing co-host, Amanda, that girl Sharp. Amanda, how are you?
I'm doing so good. What a fun weekend. We are coming out of the holiday Thanksgiving long weekend. Lots of fun, lots of activities. We hope you all had a wonderful, wonderful time with family and friends and ate a lot of whatever you choose to eat.
We are super excited because we have a brand new show all ready for you. And this is going to be a bit of a different kind of show, I think, as far as the musical journey we're about to go on. I think people are used to hearing us kind of operate in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s era. But this week, we are spinning the clock back. We've jumped into our musical time machines and are revisiting the year that is, or the years between 1950 and 1959. So this is a 1950s inspired episode that was chosen by spinning the Wheel of Themes. And listen, far be it from us to deny the Wheel of Themes. I mean, if the Wheel of Themes chooses, it chooses.
Right.
And that's what we're doing. So, we cannot anger the great and all-powerful Wheel of Themes.
We take it very seriously.
We do. Well, hey, the Wheel of Themes that we spin, it's based on not only what you and I come up with, all the different ideas we've had over the years, but also our community. You guys get to pick. You all have a voice in the show and what we're talking about here. So listen, if you want to get your suggestions onto the Wheel of Themes, all you got to do, honestly, is either hit us with a DM or join our Facebook group where we always have an ongoing post there where you can actually submit your ideas for future show themes. And by the way, talking about that, if this is your first time checking out Song Swap Showdown, well, we welcome you, and we are so happy once again that you would hang out with us today. And how the show typically works is Amanda and I each swap 3 songs each with each other that we don't think the others heard before. And as we just said, those songs that we choose are based on a theme that is chosen by spinning the Wheel of Themes at the end of every single show. And then we listen to those, we swap them, and we listen to them. And then we come on here and share our reviews and ratings for you on a scale of 1 to 5 records, with 1 being a dumpster fire.
Get out of here.
Go out of here. God, I can't believe you sent me that song. That's the feeling. Why would you do that to me?
Why would you trigger me in such a way, Amanda?
Why would you trigger me? That's a 1 song. That's a 1 record song. All the way up, though, to 5 records, which is heavenly music to our ears, going on the Eternity playlist. Never going to get sick of it. It's a great song. It's a great song. That's a 5 record song. I mean, we've had plenty of 5 records throughout this season. And 4s and 3s and a few 2s. No 1s this season, I don't think, though.
No, we arguably had something that should have gotten lower than a 1 according to some of our
according to our community here
last week. So if you want a little drama, hardly at all, but go listen to last week's episode on demand. But to your point, I would say if you really want to see how snobby Chris and I used to be about our taste in music, go back to season 1, particularly the first maybe 10 episodes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the first 10 episodes, you're right. You make a great point. If you go back to our first 10 episodes, which, are all on our feed, whether you're on YouTube, they're all there, or, on the audio feed, you can check them all out. We definitely are definitely a little snobby about our music choices. But, well, you know what? We were testing each other. We really had to go in hard and
Yes.
test each other's boundaries very quickly. And I think we did a really good job. And I think I go back and I listen to those with some appreciation for sure.
Agreed. And I feel like the show is very similar. I mean, I feel like you could watch episode 10 and episode today.
Really, it's changed that much.
Yeah, we've really been true to the show itself. I think it's just we were harder on some of the songs. And to your point, we did come in hard because we were getting like the notes. It was that experimental, like, okay, how far can I push Amanda? How far can I push Chris? How much does he hate country? Is there country he actually could ever like? And so it was a lot of fun trying to discover just those boundaries. But boy, have we grown, and I'm so proud of our musical acceptance.
Yes, absolutely. Every year we have grown more and more in our musical acceptance of each other's picks and swaps. And I'm really excited though, because like I said, and like I feel like I say it every week, is that, it's I've definitely grown I listen to things with some different musical ears than I listened to before. And I'm a little more open to some certain genres, mostly country, that I normally would not have actively listened to. But I definitely have. I've grown. Yep. So I have you to thank for this and this show, and also all of you guys, because once again, our community comes in each and every week with great song suggestions. It's so hard because you go in with your own list, and then the community comes in with some great suggestions, and you're like, oh my god, that's a really good one. I don't think she's heard that before. Maybe I should put that on the list. So please keep it up, because I love seeing the music suggestions within our community here on especially a Facebook group. And we do that at the end of every show. We always post. We always put a post in there that, hey, there's this week's theme, and leave us your suggestions, because we will use them. And I think this week, Amanda, I saw you.
Yes.
You actually incorporated a couple picks into your list to me this week that were suggested from the community.
I did. And that is in that first season, I don't want to say it was a lonely season, but we were still finding our community. And now as we're ending season 3, we have such an amazing community that, to your point, gives us these amazing song decisions, or song suggestions rather. Right. And last week I said for this week, I really wanted to dig deep and find some lost treasures that maybe were, because there's so many amazing hits that we hear constantly from.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I didn't want to do that for this episode because people can hear them anywhere.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to discover some people that either it was a person who wasn't well known or a song that wasn't super well known. I did throw in an Elvis because, I love Elvis.
But you know what? Playing the game, right? Playing the game of Song Swap Showdown, I do not know a lot of Elvis songs. I mean, I know the hits, right? Like,
of course, yes.
But like in the Uber hits, but like the mainstream stuff. But like, honestly, anything below that, I don't really know. Maybe I've heard it once, but that's kind of it. So I always love when you give me, because it just exposes me to more Elvis music. Because I don't hate Elvis, it just isn't something I reach for. I'm not dialing it up on Spotify. But like, you are a true Elvis fan, and so when you select Elvis songs for me, I'm like, oh, cool. Like, this is coming from like a real fan going, hey, this is a great entry point into Elvis, or this is a really good Elvis track you should check out. So I always appreciate your Elvis picks, because I've not heard a lot of Elvis, I guess, cuts or deep cuts, other than like the typical like 10 super uber mainstream Elvis, mega hits type of thing. So I always do appreciate it. And those are songs that like, and today's song that you selected, I had never heard before. So,
and I hope the other two you did not hear before either, which were completely from our dear friend Dave Manningly, who is just a VP. Might as well be a vice president of our show.
Vice president of Song Swap Showdown.
Let's just name him that. Sorry, Dave, you've been given a title.
New Wave Dave, vice president of Song Swap Showdown.
Boom. And my other 2 song picks were directly from his suggestions, and they were wonderful. When I heard them, I was like, this is perfect. They were right up my alley. He gets me and he gets you when he sends us our suggestions.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I actually, this is why I'm excited about the show, because these are going to be, I think we're going to get some fun discussions about these tunes. Yeah, I'd never heard the songs that were sent. The artists, yes, I've heard in the names. And I'm hoping with the list I gave you, they were new.
0
or newish. Okay, so good. All right, so this will be fun.
We got a good episode.
Yeah, this will be fun.
Then.
And I love Dave's comment. Dave coming in right now with re-examining our past is a great way to realize how far we've come. 1,000%, Dave. Especially, when you look back on music and you go back to like the 1950s, right? And I think a lot of the tracks that we're going to be talking about here, you hear the parallels of how that translates into even today. Currently in 2023, when we're recording this episode, you could hear how some mainstream artists are still pulling from the past and taking elements from these songs and modernizing it and incorporating it into their music. So it truly is a nice, like, it really is a time machine when you think about it. Like, you go, well, how can I travel in the past? Well, easy. Throw in a movie, listen to a song, read a book. Like, those are time capsules of an era that, is a long time away from here now, but still very, very relevant in how it has affected and influenced culture today, and how it still is influencing culture today. So, and Dave going, I've been president and vice president of multiple organizations. Well, Dave, you are the vice president of Song Swap Showdown. So, all right. Well, so listen, before we dive in here, and we're going to start really soon, I just wanted to take care of some of the comments that we got, because once again, we always have some dear friends who come in here and take the time to share their picks for us, for all of us here, to chew on here and maybe discover some new music. So our buddy Ian in the Down Under in Australia, check it in, as he does very early, putting his notes in, because when the show comes on live, he's in bed because of the daylight savings time, or whatever the nonsense that is the daylight stuff. So, but Ian is saying, my 350 songs are A Pub with No Beer by Slim Dusty. Wild One. Yeah, I know you love that name, Slim Dusty.
Yes,
that would be Amanda's band name, I think.
I'm Slim Dusty. Yes, the real Slim Dusty.
Or it'd be like Amanda and the Slim Dusties.
Oh my gosh, that's like Gem and the Holograms.
Yeah, Gem and Amanda and the Slim Dusties.
Okay.
Wild One by Johnny O'Keefe and Oh Yeah, Ooh Yeah, or Yeah. I'm going to say Colonel Joy and the Joy Boys. Let's see. I think that's what COL. Is it Colonel? COL? Or is it just Cold Joy?
Ian, help us out later.
Yeah, you may have to help us out in the comments later when you... is it Colonel Joy or just Cold Joy and the Joy Boys? And I'm sure watching the show later will be like Unearthing a Rare Gem. Yes, absolutely. And actually, he goes on to say, Johnny O'Keefe's song was later covered by Iggy Pop as Real Wild Child. Country legend Slim Dusty recorded over 100 albums.
That's amazing.
And Colonel Joy, was the first Aussie rock singer to have a #1 over here. Very nice. Very nice. And Dave saying, good morning, Diddy Dealers. I love it. Yes, Diddy Dealers. And so now Dave's coming in with his suggestions, as he always does. My suggestions for Chris: Clyde McPhatter, Love Please, which was released in 1954. Estill C. Ball, Pretty Polly, in 1959. Lonnie Donegan, Does Your Chewing Gum Lose Its Flavor on the Bedpost Overnight? Wow, 1959. I have to listen to all these, Dave.
Sweet.
These are fantastic.
Closing out the 50s with the longest name of a song possible.
Yeah, I go, this is like a Fall Out Boy song with the song titles. Does your chewing gum lose its flavor on the bedpost overnight?
I don't know, does it?
I feel like that's written from experience. I don't know. And then his suggestions for Amanda are, with 2 selected, and we're going to be talking about them: Harry Belafonte's Jamaican Farewell, released in 1953. Robert Mitchum, which, oh man, I got a lot to say. I can't wait to go. Coconut Water, 1957. And the Weavers, The Frozen Lager, in 1951. And he's got his honorable mentions, by the way: Champs Tequila, 1958. Of course, Frogman Henry, I Ain't Got No Home, released in 1957. The Five Blobs, The Blob. By the way, written by Burt Bacharach, the legendary songwriter Burt Bacharach, in 1958. And John Loudermilk, Angela Jones, written in 1958. 1959. So, wow. So this was a musical journey for sure because, listen, when you think about 1950s music, right, you think about all the big classics, the big classics. Like, just dial up on Spotify and go 1950s, top hits of the 50s,
Yes.
and boom. You will get all the big songs. And there's so many. It's literally like an explosion. And this is all, by the way, pre-Beatles. So
Yes.
before, we always think that there was no rock and roll before the Beatles or that there was no rock and roll going on before Elvis. Certainly, those two artists were zeitgeist moments in American popular culture, right? When they broke on the Ed Sullivan Show and doing what they were doing. However, there were artists out there making music, making rock and roll music, and just, like any face of a genre, right? There's always a standout star. There's always a breakout, right? And so that happened to be Elvis, and then later the Beatles. The Beatles are in the 60s, so this isn't going to be a Beatles-centric talk, but Elvis is definitely, when you talk about 1950s, you've got Beatles, you got, Jerry Lee Lewis, right?
Yep.
Little Richard. I mean, the lists can go on and on and on about the major artists, but I guess from a cultural standpoint, you would say Elvis is probably the one from the 50s that, like, really, like, if you're going to put a star on the map of the 1950s, he was the biggest.
I'm not going to argue that. And the 50s really had that transformation where there was rock and roll coming out. It was real doo-boppy.
Yeah, you had rock and roll and rock.
Bluesy. Like,
Yep.
there was a really nice combination of music pieces that were just, I loved it. And you know what I really, really enjoyed about the music back then is it wasn't overdone.
No.
They were usually like 3 minutes or less.
They came on, pounded the song out, and out. It was great.
Yes, I love it. And so that is one thing when I was listening to our playlist that we listened to over and over to prepare for our show, our Spotify playlist. Go check it out. It was just boom, 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 done. Boom, 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 done.
This playlist definitely flies through this week, but it's amazing how from song to song, how unique and different it is from each song. And to your point, yes, you can hear, like, hey, this is like a sped up country song. This is like rockabilly. This is like straight up rock and roll. Like, you really hear the back and forth. Like, you hear even some surfy kind of stuff. Like, it's just calypso, which calypso was huge in the 50s thanks to Harry Belafonte, like, which I'm so glad he's on here because I don't think you can have a discussion about the 1950s without having Harry Belafonte on a list because of the cultural impact he made bringing calypso music into an American mainstream. Like, big deal. And that's, we'll talk about the Robert Mitchum because I don't think that song exists without Harry Belafonte because, like any actor,
Absolutely.
he's not going to do it if it's not cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so Harry Belafonte made calypso music from a mainstream level. Not that it had not existed before, but he ushered it and made it more accessible, I think, to an American public in the 1950s. When you think about what was going on in the 50s in this country, and a change that was happening and starting to happen and gain a lot of momentum here. So, it is, like Dave said, going back and looking back at these things is definitely huge, and you do get reminded of a lot of interesting impacts that were made in the world. And then when you listen to music, it really tells a story. It tells a story. So let's dive into our list today. Cause I know this is what everybody's here for. Want to hear us talk about music and review and rate these songs on a scale of 1 to 5 records. Amanda, I'm starting with your song first. I'm going to start with Jamaica Farewell by Harry Belafonte, as we were just talking about. Now, everybody knows, I don't think there's a person out there that doesn't know who Harry Belafonte is. I mean, honestly, even like kids, even if they don't know the name, they know the songs, like even the younger people today. So what I love about this is that this was a song that really started, like, this came off his debut record in America here. And it was sort of like one of these ones that he took what was called the mento style of music, right? A mento style of Jamaican folk music that basically predates ska and reggae. So for all
Sure.
this is style predates that. So when you
Mhm.
listen to modern ska and reggae, you can thank Harabut, not that he
Hey,
invented it, but you can thank him
mhm.
for helping usher that sound in to influence American audiences to then become inspired, influence, and then go back and research all these artists. So,
Yeah.
Mento typically features acoustic instruments such as acoustic guitar, banjo, hand drums, the rumba box, and a large maramba in the shape of a box that can be sat on while played. The rumba box typically carries the bass part of the music. Jamaica Farewell is about the beauties of the West Indian Islands. The lyrics for the song were written by Lord Burgess. Oh man,
I
would
mean,
you love to be a
could
lord or a lady?
yes.
You know,
Yeah, I
Lord Burgess,
Marcus says I am a princess.
queen. Actually, you were the queen of the household, not the princess.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But yeah, like Lord Vaglio.
I know. It'd be like
Like,
now announcing Lord Vaglio. Like, yeah,
I mean,
it'd be cool.
okay, let's go.
Let's do it. Yeah,
Let's do it.
yeah. Interesting though, Lord Burgess, also known as Irvin Burgee, was born in Brooklyn, New York in 1926. His mother was from Barbados and his father was from Virginia. And this song appeared on Harry Belafonte's phenomenally successful Calypso album, which reached number 14 on Billboard's pop chart. Like, just think about that, man. You know, what an accomplishment.
Yeah.
You know, what an amazing accomplishment, and what a way to expose so many people to such an amazing genre of music. This was actually his third studio recording, and as I said, it was released in 1956 on his record Calypso. Calypso was actually inducted. This record was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 2005, and in 2018, it was selected for preservation in the National Recording Registry by the Library of Commerce for being culturally historical and artistically significant.
I would agree with those points.
Absolutely.
It's no secret if you've been listening to our show for a handful of episodes. I love that style of music. It just gets me moving and grooving and in a cheerful mood. They could be singing about death and I'd be like, yep. Like,
well, what a great way to handle very delicate and sensitive topics than to wrap them up in music that is happy.
Yes.
Or to hide a message if you're looking to hide a message.
Yes.
Great way to do is, put it in candy.
Which we've uncovered a few of our songs that we featured in the past, how deep they really are for being so happy sounding.
Absolutely, 100%. So let's check out a little bit of Jamaica Farewell by Harry Belafonte, the one and only Harry Belafonte.
Instant happiness.
And, well, I'll talk in a second, I bet.
Down the way where the nights are gay and the sun shines daily on the mountain top, I took a trip on a sailing ship, and when I reached Jamaica, I made a stop. But I'm sad to say I'm on my way, won't be back for many a day. My heart is down, my head is turning around. I had to leave a little girl in Kingston town.
So what I love about this song is I was been listening to this in the house now since she put it since she swapped it with me, and I feel like the way the song is recorded, it sounds so live because you can literally, especially when you listen to it on headphones, you can literally hear the room. You can hear him moving the guitar, touching the guitar. You can hear his fingers like you hear these things, and you literally feel like when you're listening to this in like your living room, your kid, like you feel like Harry Belafonte is right there. I mean, it sounds just so live and so like it's simple, right? Like we just talked about it, and his vocal melody and all that. Like it just is really something when you really just sit and listen to the song. It really gives you a great feel, and it's so like unassumingly like kind of quiet and just I don't know, it just feels like he's right there, like the way this is recorded, like
very
literally
intimate.
And it very just sounds like he sat down with his the musicians on this track and just recorded it. Like they just, and it's probably because I mean what they hit record and boom, and that was it. And it was like, hey, we got it. All right, good. That's how it feels
Yeah.
like. And it's that good that they probably nailed it. They probably didn't nail it in one take, but it certainly
They
sounds
have.
like it.
Well, and you always love that little bit more raw version of something versus the extra refined and filtered. So I can appreciate you're appreciating that because there is something to be said about that.
Well, especially in the 1950s, right? Because, I mean, the way recording techniques were in the 50s and how they eventually evolved, very different.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, still the principles are there, but it just, the technology got better is really what happened. Like anything, technology gets better and things do sound better. Like, but there definitely a simpler time when you could literally just walk into the studio, hit record and go right to tape and be like, okay, that sounds good. Maybe they do some punch-ins and cut some piece, but other than that, like this is a good to go song. And I really like it. It's a great song. You hear the emotion and it feels like when I listen to it, especially on headphones too, you really hear it. Like he's literally sitting right next to you, like singing the song. Like that's how it feels.
I'm going to say something very controversial.
Uh-oh.
I know.
Should I get the controversy button? Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. I just really feel like why I appreciate this type of music the most, and probably through, I don't know, the 80s is because it was when people really actually had talent. It just wasn't a package deal that, oh, they look right, they sound okay, we're going to make them be great by all of these revisions. They were true to who I think they really were good talent.
Of course.
And their looks and their stuff were secondary to talent themselves. And I think today's times, we got so much of that backwards. In my humble opinion.
In your humble opinion, I think for the most part, it was just a different era. But however, the music business of music was definitely very much alive and well during this time. And a lot of those things that were happening today kind of started around this time, especially when you start talking about some payola stuff that eventually would seep in to the industry and, creating artists and all that. Now, once again, yes, talent, very, very much so. You could hear a lot of that rawness, but it definitely became, when you look at some of these record labels, I mean, record labels today still aren't that much better, but some of these record labels were very predatory, like really predatory back in the day to these artists. So, a lot of these people had music stolen from them and publishing rights. And I mean, it goes on and on and on. But you can appreciate songs like this where you hear the talent. It's like literally, there's no mistaking this. Like,
correct.
There's no auto tune. Like, no, you got to be able to sing that song. You got to be able to play that instrument. And if you can't, we're just going to get someone else who can come in and play. Like, it's not, to your point, fake. You can't fake it.
No, he sounded like that in a stage in a club, say, no different than what he sounds like on that recording. Where today, it's hard pressed to sometimes hear people live and go, you're not that great of a singer. You just pretty.
Exactly. But I think you can find definitely examples of that throughout history. But I understand your point. Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. So where am I rating Harry Belafonte's Jamaican Farewell? Well, it's definitely a great song, and I hadn't really heard it before this. So this was a really nice treat to kick off your playlist for me. So I am going to give this, and because I think Harry Belafonte is a treasure, I really do. In all ways, he wasn't just a singer of Jamaican songs. He really was an important figure, I feel like, in American culture. Obviously, by what I was saying with the, from being a recording artist to being an activist to being a voice, and affecting real change in the world. All those things. I would give this song, the way it makes me feel, I'm going to give it a 4.8 records.
Ooh, so very high up. I'm very pleased with that rating because I personally would nestle it in at that same range.
I will listen to this again, and it's just, once again, when I hear things, it reminds me of how I should probably be exploring more of this man's work, rather than just sort of like having it come on casually. So that's it makes me think like, I should also show some more appreciation for Harry Belafonte and what he brought by listening to more of his music for sure. So let's move on a little bit more because I want to talk. What I'm going to do then is, since Amanda's having some issues, I'm going to move on to her second song to me. So her second song to me was Elvis Presley's Trying to Get to You. Now, as I was just talking at the beginning, like there's not a lot of Elvis, like quote unquote deeper cuts that I know. I know a lot of the Elvis hits, the mainstay Elvis hits. So this was a song that I found interesting because, as I always do, when you go and you look at Elvis stuff, you're always trying to say like, well, where did the song originate from? Because a lot of times Elvis, actually almost all the time, Elvis did not write music himself. He worked with songwriters. He covered a lot of songs. He did standards. He reworked songs. He pulled a lot from blues, Southern blues, R&B, all that. So he did a lot of different versions of some songs that were more traditional back in the day. So, hey, you're back.
Dude, I'm so sorry I missed so much of it because I was excited for this one.
That's okay. That's okay. So what I was saying was that, like most Elvis stuff, because Elvis wasn't writing his own music, he was doing a lot of covers. He was reworking songs, rearranging stuff. And that's why I always find it fascinating when you give me Elvis stuff to find like, well, where did the song come from? Where did it originate? Who was the original songwriter? How did that happen? And so this song, Trying to Get to You, was originally released by the Eagles.
Isn't that funny?
Not the Eagles. From the 70s with of course, Joe Walsh and all those guys.
Yeah.
Notice I just went to Joe Walsh first, but like Don Henley, Glenn Fry, all those. But no, this is actually the R&B band, or I would say Washington, D.C. vocal group, the Eagles. So they released a song in 1954 on Mercury Records, and then Elvis recorded it in 1955 for his then unissued Sun recordings. Now, he actually did 4 versions of this song, Amanda. Did you know that?
So my best and favorite version is when he's doing his special like in the 60s, at the end of the 60s. I really love that version. But this is good. This is a good version. Yeah,
so he recorded live version of the song on Elvis, the NBC special. Elvis, as recorded live on stage in Memphis. Elvis in concert, an earlier version appeared on the 1999 album Sunrise. So this has been reworked quite a few times, different versions, I should say, or recorded a few versions. But the version we're talking about was released as a single on, originally released as a single, and the B-side was "I Love You Because." So this was released in August of 1956. Then it was released on his debut record, which on your rankings of records, actually I forgot where this landed on your rankings of records when we did your Elvis ranking. You were like, I said, hey, Amanda, give me your top 10 Elvis records of all time. And this made your list of top 10 Elvis records. I can't remember where it made it.
I can't remember exactly, Vanessa.
Well, you know what? I'll have to repost it to. I'll put it in here because we did a short on it, so it's in there. But this did make your list. And by the way, the Elvis this record cover for this Elvis Presley record is iconic. This has been copped by so many other artists throughout time. That style of record. I don't have it queued up. I'll have to show it later on. But Trying to Get to You. So I thought it'd be fun to just listen to the original version of this really quick. So the first recording of Trying to Get to You by the Eagles in 1954, the DC vocal group, by the way, once again. But let's listen to a little bit of this because then I want you to hear the difference.
I've been traveling over mountains, even through the valleys too. I've been traveling night and day. I've been running all the way, baby, trying to get to you. Baby, trying to get to you. Ever since I read.
So that's the original version, the OG version of Trying to Get to You.
Which is good.
Yeah. Trying, by the way, apostrophe.
Yes.
Trying.
No G.
No G. Now, that's that version. So here's the Elvis version of now Trying to Get to You. So he dropped the trying and went to trying. Just want to point that out.
Even through the valleys too. I've been been traveling night and day. I've been running all the way, baby, trying to get to you. Ever since I read your letter.
So you hear the difference, though. But what I do appreciate is I feel like Elvis was, Elvis being Elvis, doing Elvis, but I feel like he tried in a way to really respect the original song and not change it too much. And even you can hear some of the vocal like pattern and some of the stuff that they were doing. So I like that he did a Elvis version of the song, but yet didn't like completely make it that it's like, well, and kind of just really change it. But I like that he actually pulled elements too and tried to like actually emulate it, like as in respect too for the original song. So I do like this song. I thought this was cool. Definitely has a vibe, man. Yeah. And it oozes with attitude. I was talking about that while you're in internet hell. I was talking about how in the 50s, one of the things that I see when at least from my point of view, when you listen even like the decade before in the 40s, 20s and 30s and all that, but like when you go from the 40s into the 50s, you have much more artists kind of singing, being a little more bold, doing different things, as David said, being a little bit more weird and funny, but even attitude was coming through so much more. Like you could hear it. And I feel like Elvis especially, the king of attitude, the king of rock and roll, but like he really brought like just listening back and forth to the songs, the big difference here is the swagger. I'm telling you, it's the swagger. It's what Elvis brings to the table and what I think separates him from a lot of other artists, because you said it before, talent, right? And so not taking anything away from the Eagles, very talented, but you hear the difference when they did it in their way, the way they do it, but then what Elvis brings to it, and it's just that like just that something, that little something extra that like the Eagles version's missing, but then Elvis kind of does it, and it's like there it is. It is.
I think Elvis had a very great talent of understanding who his listeners were and delivering the song the way that they wanted to be sung to. His charisma level was so good. I mean, listen, I still love him, and he's been gone for how many decades? A lot of decades, and he still is just playing into the eternity of music. So no surprise, I love him. And I think the swagger, to your point, swagger probably wasn't a big word back in the 50s. But if it was,
I'm not sure if it was or not.
if it wasn't, that would have been the word I think a lot of people would have used to describe his music.
Yeah, I mean, it just, like I said, you hear the difference. If you go back and forth, you go, wow, it pretty much, for the most part, is the same song. But the Elvis version, not to be a complete Elvis stan here about this, but you go, how does one artist be better than the other? Like, what is, like, if they take the same song and record it, what made that version more popular than the other? And you got to go, because of what they brought to the table, right? And a lot of attitude, swagger, just them being like their talent of what they do with their craft. Like, those are the difference makers. And this is why, Elvis, right place, right time in American culture, tapped into the right vein, so to speak, and that and helped. It helped, and this is where I think you can hear the big differences. Between from that song to the next.
And his live version is really even more edgy and sassy, and it's a favorite for sure.
Well, he's feeling himself more, and we know Elvis live. Like, there's a big there's a huge difference, Elvis live versus Elvis recorded, like in the studio. Big difference.
I think he fed off of his attendees.
His audience. No, Elvis is oozing with energy. And hey, listen, you need a good audience to feed off of, and he's very good at tapping into that and kind of bringing it back out there, and then that's what you get. You got it's on Elvis magic. So where do I rate? Trying to get to you, the Elvis version of the song, released in 1956. Originally released in 1956. I like the song. I think it's cool. I'm glad you sent it to me. I actually like this on a level that I didn't expect to like, because
Okay.
I dig the swagger on it a
Mhm.
lot.
Mhm.
And once again, when you hear some of the earlier Elvis stuff, there's a certain thing with him that I just the eras of Elvis, right? I oftentimes, like, I know a lot of people like the later end of Elvis, but there's something about these earlier Elvis songs that I feel like kind of got lost a little bit as he got
Mhm.
older.
Yeah.
And it's just, youth obviously is one of
Of
them, right? He
course.
he's
Yep.
not the same man he was in the 50s as he later
Yeah.
became in the 70s. So, but I like it. I do like it. There's something a little like edgy about it that, you know,
Mhm.
speaks to me. It speaks to me. So, and you can tell why so many people were influenced by Elvis. So
Yeah.
many of like the British rock bands were like, because you can imagine them hearing this and being like, oh my gosh, like when you listen to the Beatles and they talk about
Mhm.
Led Zeppelin and the Stones and the Who, all the famous rock bands that came out, like always go Elvis. I heard Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
I got this Elvis record, and I wanted to play guitar. I wanted to start a band. Like that was
Yeah.
their flashpoint. So all that being said, where do I rate it? I'm gonna firmly put this song at a 4 record for me.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's a little higher than I expected. So I received that. That is amazing.
yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think about it. I'm like, it's a good song. And
I mean, I
sorry,
certainly
I'm
love
losing
it.
my voice here.
You had to do a lot of talking while my computer crashed.
But in that way, I just
Mhm.
feel like that it's a good song. I can see myself going back to this one.
Okay.
I could,
All right.
and I probably scored it higher than maybe what some other people would do. But a lot of, like, when you play me some of this older Elvis stuff, man, it's new for me. So
Right.
I'm discovering some of this stuff, like this song, discovering it for the first time, and so it's hitting me on different levels. And maybe it would have hit me like 20 years ago or 30 years. Like a
Yeah.
20-year-old version of myself. I don't know if I would appreciate it as much as I'm
I
appreciating
get
it now
that.
in my 40s.
Even season one.
Even season one.
Even season one, you may
Yeah.
have given it a different
Yeah.
rating.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. Thank you.
You are welcome. So Dave's saying, I prefer early Elvis to jumpsuit rhinestone Elvis.
Which I'm the exact opposite.
Yeah.
I can appreciate where he began, but I really like where he kind of evolved into and nestled. I think he started singing really the music that really was passionate with him, and instead of maybe some of the other things. So I love jumpsuit Elvis.
That's great. And
right.
then, and real quick, Jim Fisher,
Hi,
hello for Wildgate
Jim.
UK. Hello, Jim. Thank you for checking in. Thank you for hanging out with us. They really appreciate it. Thank you for that.
Love that.
All right,
All right.
Amanda.
I have some making up to do.
My first song.
Yes, to me this week was Something Else by Eddie Cochran.
Yes.
And, I'm just going to start with the tragedy of this all.
Yep.
He
Go ahead.
died in a car accident at 21. And how heartbreaking. And incidentally, this song involves a car and a girl and
classic 50s tropes.
Yes, I mean, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And we often say, gosh, any song by a man has something to do with like a girl, and boom, right in this one. He doesn't get the car, but he does get the girl, and I think that's super, super cute. I think, why not?
Yeah, exactly. Why not?
You're a winner then. What a cute beat. What a cute song. This is, I guess I wish I wouldn't have known about the tragedy, because I just feel like that overpowers me when I'm listening to this.
I mean, it definitely is a tragedy, because you go, man, like in the songs he left us, like before he passed away, are incredible. And you go, man, what would he have done? What would he have kept? Like, where would he have gone, man? Like, the things he would have created had he lived past 21.
Yeah, to even just 30.
Just amazing. So, and the thing is when you look at Eddie Cochran and the songs he did leave us, we're talking about the cultural influence. Eddie Cochran and his style has influenced, it still continues to influence a lot of bands and a lot of musicians. And especially like when you look at it, you can kind of call him a proto-punk, in the sense that like what he did, like the Sex Pistols covered the song, like the chords, his progressions, the way he did the fast, and like we'll listen to a little bit, the recording of it. This is basically like as early punk rock that you're gonna get.
Yeah.
before the label punk. Like, this is literally, you want to go, where did punk come from? Okay, punk is a cultural movement. Yes, much, much later in the 70s and all that. But when you look at, like, where did the sound, where was the origination of that sound, the influence, the spark? Go right back to Eddie Cochran.
The zoop.
Zoop. Yeah.
Right back.
Just go right back to Eddie Cochran. That's it. You go, that's it. That's the sound. That's where it is. Punk is a sped up. And Eddie Cochran was already a sped up version of rock. So punk is just a more of a sped up version of Eddie Cochran.
And I think
Hot take.
Hot take. I don't disagree. I think a lot of people would agree with you. And when you listen to this song, you can hear a lot of the future elements, to your point, that people did use. And the person who co-wrote this song ended up becoming his girlfriend, right? Is that?
Yeah. Yep.
And so I find that really interesting.
Yeah.
And again, just so tragic because he had his whole life ahead of him to do. God only knows what would have happened.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many artists in history and time that, man, if they had just lived a little bit longer, what would they have done? I mean, history is unfortunately littered with amazing artists leaving this mortal plane before their time, and it's nuts. But, then you're always got to be, well, at least we got what we got. So, and here we are talking about this song in 2023. We're talking about Eddie Cochran's music. So,
almost 70 years later.
Yeah, immortal. This is where people live on forever, in the work that they leave behind.
That's one thing about music that I just love is the legacy it leaves long term, because it will find somebody. And I'm so glad that we have technology that has allowed stuff like this to live on.
Yeah, it's amazing, like, when you go, like, the fact that I can go on to Spotify, honestly, and, like, dial up this song or, like, the songs you gave me, and there it is. Now, not every single song, but for the most part, they're there. And, like, what a world that we live in where we can have access to pretty much anything created by humans at the tip of our fingertips, and just listen to and appreciate and rediscover. So, even, too, hopefully that, like, people who maybe took a chance on today's show and were like, I don't know, the 50s, you guys are talking about the 50s. Like, well, maybe, just maybe, you heard a couple songs on here that you would be like, wow, let me go listen to the full version of that song. Let me go to a Spotify playlist and listen to that. Hopefully that you've been on that musical discovery with us today. So, you want to check out some Eddie Cochran?
I was just going to say, with that, I think that's the perfect time to play a little bit, because this could be a song that hooks somebody.
I think so. Like, I love the beat. All right, like, this is kind of heavy, man.
Oh, look at there. Here she comes. Here comes that girl again. Wanted to date her since I don't know when.
I mean,
she don't notice me when I pass. She goes with all the guys from out of my class. But that can't stop me from thinking to myself, she's sure fine looking, man. She's something else.
I mean, the bass and drums on this song is ridiculous. It's literally, when we talk about garage rock, this is literally like, all right, let's go. 1, 2, 3, boom. And it's just like, hit record.
This was made.
Bang it out. The bass and drum, it's just, this is like heavy. Like, for this time, it's fast. It's, it slams. The song slams. It's a good one. And then you can hear, like, why did Sex Pistols then later on do this? Well, because they heard it too. They're like, boy, this song freaking slams. Like,
it's not a big leap of faith to get it to where they would perform it.
No, not at all. Not at all. Like, you hear the roots of all that stuff. And we talked about attitude. I mean, oozing. Sassy, attitude, rock and roll, in your face. No apologies. Like, we're rocking out. Love it. And you can dance to it.
And that's one thing. Like, the dancing that this decade started to kind of create was very interesting. And the world wasn't ready for it.
No, it wasn't. And this is why, Elvis was, once again, I don't want to make this whole show about Elvis, but he made it accessible.
That hip thrusting was not early accepted.
No, not accepted at all. And once again, the lyrics, you listen to this, and they really pushed it. They went very tongue-in-cheek, super innuendo, like, really got in there. And all they really did was take what blues artists were already doing, because you listen to a lot of those blues songs, very innuendo, very there, and they took it and then, sped it up a bit more and add their own flair and a little bit more attitude in some of these, and boom, there you go, rock and roll.
Yeah.
And I agree. The way Dave's saying, the way Cochran played garage rock, it almost sounds like they're making it up as they play. Yes, I love it. I absolutely love it. It's loose and it's ferocious. It kind of sounds a little dangerous.
like who knows where it would have went?
Who knows where it would have went? You better get out of our way. We're just playing. We're going.
I love that. And it makes you wonder. So when I hear music and I hear these lines, because I had not obviously heard the song before, and it makes you go, I notice her, but she doesn't notice me.
Yeah.
It always makes me think, in this world, how many people notice us that we don't notice them?
Yeah.
That we made it like a imprint into their brains, and we had no even concept that they were in the same room with us. Not because we were being mean. It just wasn't on our radar, or how many pictures we've been in. Like, you just don't know. So anytime I hear songs like that, I'm like, ooh, so good, because we don't know how many levels. And had he not done certain things, like, would she have ever noticed them?
Probably not.
Probably not.
He's a bad boy.
He's a bad boy.
He's playing guitar in a rock and roll band, driving fast cars.
All things that I think ladies just ultimately actually like.
You heard it here first, ladies.
You heard it here first.
The lady of the show is the one that said that.
There's something a little fun about a little bit of a bad boy. I don't know why. I think most women will agree.
I think so.
Just the way it is. I mean, that's probably why I love Clint Eastwood. Make my day.
I mean, Clint Eastwood, come on now. Man with no name. Talk about the ultimate bad, like, just bad guy that, but yet.
Good guy.
He's an anti-hero.
There you go.
Plays an anti-hero, yeah.
So where do I rate Something Else by Eddie Cochran? I appreciated it. I had fun with it. It really, the delivery, the presentation of it, I would have felt, this is a concert that if it existed today, I felt like I could go to. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't hurt my ears to the point where somebody else who would be playing it in the future or now would deliver it. I think this is like my type of entry into that type of music that wouldn't have made my ears bleed. So I really liked it. I'm going to give it a 4 records. And I think that is fair.
I think it's very fair. Absolutely. Dave checking in with Amanda. I'm a good bad boy.
Those are the best. Those are the ones.
Those are the ones.
The good bad boys. All right. Do you want me to jump into your second song to me to get caught back up?
Yeah, you might as well. Why don't you do my second song so that way we can both then, we'll do each other's last songs.
Okay. Yeah. So Chris's second song to me was Red River Rock by Johnny and the Hurricanes with also Johnny Paris. Yep. So the Johnnies and the Hurricanes.
Yes. I love that name, by the way.
Mm-hmm. It's super fun. Johnny and the Hurricanes.
Johnny and the Hurricanes. Toledo's own.
Yeah. Yes, they're just like from 15 minutes south of us.
Yeah.
And that is a lot of fun. I didn't know that. And you know what I really, really like is their empire is kind of instrumental.
Yeah, it's instrumental, and they would take a lot of original, like they reworked classic songs into like this like 50s instrumental with like organ and bass and I get sucked right in. I love the 50s organ sound. I love it. I am a sucker for it. Like there's something about it. There
were elements in the song that I go, what is that? What is that thing that they're playing? And it was really fun. So I love instrumental music. I can listen to it all day long. I love classical. I think it's fun because it's no thought music. It doesn't invade me. I don't have to sing to it. It just touches my heart and my brain and gives me a little bit of a break. So when I was listening to this, I had never honestly heard of Johnny and the Hurricanes.
Yeah, I mean, Johnny and the Hurricanes isn't one of these bands that, but the thing is they actually did have hits. They had big hits, but they just, I feel like time has forgotten them.
And
I just do.
I agree with you because I think we're in the 50s, they were probably huge because instrumental could be huge. I don't know.
Instrumental music was very big. Yeah.
In the 2020s.
This version of this song, like Red River Rock, it became a hit, a top 10 hit on both sides of the Atlantic. Number 5 in the US and number 3 in the UK and sold over 1 million copies.
I believe it. And when you first listen to this, I go, this could be a TikTok.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
TikTok. And I don't know if anyone's done a TikTok to it, but
probably not.
all of the elements to, because you know how they remix certain songs to make it into a TikTok. I'm like, this wouldn't even need remixing.
No, it's like
sounds
perfect.
like an ice cream truck based on like, I don't know. Like, it just makes me want to do a little like shoulder bopping.
There's something about this song that I hear it and it instantly makes me think of like summertime, 1950s, hamburgers, milkshakes, like
diner.
cool cars, diner, hanging out, having fun. There's just something so like freeing and loose and fun about this song. And it's just great. And it's just so easy. Easy to listen to.
It is. Play a little bit just so everyone understands, because the way that when we are talking about instrumental, I just don't think people can understand what we're saying until they hear a little bit of this treat.
I mean,
I'm going to do a TikTok to this today.
On your roller skates with your jacket on.
Yes.
With your roller skate jacket. Love that Hammond organ, man. Sax comes in, like 50s sax sound. Love it.
So happy.
That's all you need, isn't it? I love that. So great. I mean, it's just a fun song to listen to, and it puts you right in a mood, and you can bop around the house. You could put this on, clean the dishes. Yeah.
It is 3 minutes of pure joy. And you know what? I had this vision. This is so morbid. As I giggle. So when I croak, we all know Betty right around the corner is going to take care of my body.
Right.
I know it's up to Owen whether I go in the ground or if I get put in a little box or something.
Right.
So if I get put into the ground though, and there's like that procession, I'm like, Benny, can you like open up your windows and play this as I'm going through town? Like, could you imagine this being my exit song? Do, 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 do. Like, how
and people
amazing.
are dancing and hula hooping and
go,
roller
girl.
skating.
Yeah, you go get in the ground. Like, yes.
It's a fun funeral procession song.
A fun funeral procession. Like, why not? Like, people can hand out ice cream along like the procession line. Let's do this.
Yes, absolutely. I'm for it. I'm there.
So,
I'm there.
Running in the Hurricanes, making my funeral playlist.
Yeah, Dave saying the Ventures were the kings of 50s instrumentals. They went on to do the theme for I-50, Wipe Out, and Walk Don't Run Him Anymore. Yes, absolutely, Dave. Yeah, like the 50s and the 60s too, like instrumental music could chart and become huge. Like top 10 hit.
Unbelievable. That just... When's the last time that's happened?
From a pop perspective, I can't even remember. I mean, you see it a lot, of course, on classical and all that, but like...
Of course, but actually
and,
like a pop...
And jazz, you know...
Of course.
But like on pop music charts...
This level, yes.
You don't see it, not in modern times, like charting like that as a top 10 hit. I would love
to see some new... band just come out just having a blast. Like I can almost see what they would look like, just having fun.
I mean, there's so many great instrumental bands out there. I've played some for you and all that, but like they're not charting on top 10. I mean, maybe the closest we would come to a top 10 actually is probably Trans-Siberian Orchestra with some of their instrumentals.
Fair.
But it's Holiday.
Yes.
But you know, I don't want to say it's still there, you know, and it's still charts. So that's the only one that comes to recent memory that I think is charted in the top 10.
And even that, I feel like, has a whole different
it's
delivery.
A vibe. It's a different vibe.
Yeah, it's a whole different vibe. So, and I do love that.
Yeah.
I do love it. It's beautiful. But this is like your everyday, just bopping around the house, like to your point, doing dishes to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's an easy tune.
Yeah, it really is. So, where do I rate this one?
Where do you rate Johnny and the Hurricanes?
Our audience may not agree with me on this one.
Okay.
But I'm willing to withstand the controversy that may come with it. Because I'm feeling like I'm poking the bear today for no reason, but I'm just doing it. I would put this on my eternity playlist. To my point of, I said, let's do a funeral procession with it. Right. So if those would be some of my final like notes heading out of this world, it certainly deserves 5 records from me.
Wow.
A lot.
5 records.
And I had never heard of them before. So to get it from there to 5 records to a funeral playlist for me, like it hit the right notes.
There you go. It hits the right notes. Well, there you go. So I expect to see a TikTok with you skating around the store with your pineapple jacket on.
This show
with your
50s at home.
Oh.
I know. I have to have a lame gray sweater on instead with no sleeves.
Nards.
I know. I'm such a nerd. But I'll be bopping.
Be bopping. All right. There you go. Be looking forward to that. So, and Dave saying in 65, an Alka-Seltzer commercial instrumental was so catchy, it became a record no matter what shape your stomach is in. Stayed on Billboard Top 100 for 13 weeks.
Wow.
There you go.
I sing a whole different type of Pepto-Bismol commercial these days. Upset stomach, diarrhea. You all know that one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, so fun. So 5 records coming in. So we are kind of neck to neck on this episode. So our third songs will declare the winner.
So this next song, and I know Dave recommended this one. Robert Mitchum, the actor, the Hollywood badass that he is. Cape Fear, by the way, Cape Fear, Robert Mitchum, all-time performance. I mean, listen, I like De Niro in the role, but Robert Mitchum is absolutely frightening in that role. And if you've never watched the original Cape Fear,
wrong.
Please do it. You're doing yourself a disservice not watch. You have to watch it. Robert Mitchum, great actor, and much like you would see today when actors, go, well, we're going to be a musician and cut a record. For some reason, Robert Mitchum thought it would be a great idea to make not only a record, but a calypso record. Thank you, Harry Belafonte. Harry Belafonte made calypso music so cool in the U.S. and so hot that Robert Mitchum, one of the most famous actors of the time, was like,
I gotta do it too.
I'm gonna do this too. I'm gonna make a calypso music and then also put on a fake accent.
Okay, when you put it all out like that, like let's air the dirty laundry a little bit. I mean,
the fake accent kills me because I'm like, is he playing a character from a film?
Well,
in
his defense, you see how I go Southern when I get real passionate. Like he might just get his accent when he gets a real musical. But
which I know. And obviously, like, he's not doing it to mock. I mean, that's not. He's just. No. I think he's just trying to be authentic. But it is hilarious, and I gotta see if I can pull. I gotta pull up the cover for this because it's truly everything that you would want. I actually feel like I may need a poster of this. I gotta share this. Hold on. Hopefully, hopefully you guys are watching the video version of this. If not, go back and watch the video version at like 1 minute and 7 seconds here because you're gonna see. Look at this album cover. Look at this. Robert Mitchum, Calypso, and the name of it, Calypso is like. Sorry, by the way, we don't get a piece of the pie here if you order this. No. But this is the album cover. Looking all Robert Mitchum, cool, with a drink in a gimlet glass, by the way. And this woman is like, holy cow, you are Robert Mitchum singing calypso music. I'm all about it. When you see
a lady in a red dress, you better watch out.
I'm all about it. Look at that. Amazing stuff here. So,
and he ain't paying her any attention.
Yeah.
He's looking into the eyes and soul of you.
He's looking into you.
That record.
Buy this calypso record. Buy my calypso record. Yes. Yeah. So, all right. So Dave is saying Robert Mitchum fell in love with the island music while filming in Trinidad before Harry Belafonte made calypso big. Mitchum arguably introduced calypso to America. So, I mean, listen, you can. You never forget Robert Mitchum's love and hate knuckle tattoos. Yeah, it's classic. So you can make that argument, Dave. You could make that argument for sure that he did put this out before Belafonte broke big and all that. But it's just, we talked a little about novelty stuff. You got to admit, like, while he loved the music, you got to admit this is a little bit of a novelty. This is a novelty move. Like, Robert Mitchum putting out a whole record of calypso music, which I know he loves the music, loves the culture. Nothing wrong that he did it. I don't think it's wrong, but I do feel it's like, hey, I'm Robert Mitchum. I could do anything. Like put out a Calypso record.
I mean, wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah. I mean, it's sold. So listen though. I mean, it's sold copies, man. It was like not. I mean, it wasn't like a million copies that Harry Belafonte would do, but it sold records. I mean, everybody bought it. I think so. It was like, oh, it was Robert Mitchum. There was another single released off this record called Gene and Dinah that was sort of like a hit, but Coconut Water seems to be the one that's like the one that most people resonate with. So, do you want to hear? Does everybody out there want to hear a little Robert Mitchum in his faux Calypso accent?
Play up that Coconut Water.
All right. Let's listen.
I don't know that the rating's going to come in very good on this one.
Honey, come and go with me back to the West Indies. Baby, can't you see I'm losing my pep and my energy? What I need is
drink the coconut water,
the jelly.
Drink the coconut water.
Yes, it is a builder. Drink the coconut water I cannot get in America. What is the tonic, man?
Drink the coconut water,
the jelly.
I can't. I just can't get. It's like all I have is the image of Robert Mitchum, like serious actor, being the tough guy, Hollywood baddie, like that's his persona, and here he is like whooping it up, being all
chilling,
footloose and fancy free, doing a faux Caribbean accent, doing Calypso music. I can't. It's burned in my head because all I hear, the love-hate tattoos and the Cape Fear, the guy from Cape Fear, like,
Hey, everybody can have a gentle side.
I'm not saying he can't. It's just it's hard to get the image out of my head of that guy than doing this. And I got to tell you, the first time I was like, oh, Robert Mitchum. I'm like, I was very intrigued, and I put this on, and I literally started like laughing like immediately, like
man.
Because, and I'm not saying it's so it's like one of these things is like, do I love it or do I hate it? I don't know. Like, I'm a little conflicted. Like, I am conflicted about this one because on one side, I'm like, this is absolutely ridiculous.
It's coconut water.
But then I go, but the fact that this exists is also pretty amazing. So
understood.
There's like, I gotta flip I don't know. I feel like I gotta flip a coin on this.
Do we need to get you a physical coin to flip?
I mean, you might. I mean, I may have to. But so, all right. So listen, where am I going to rate this?
Dave, I don't know.
I mean, to Dave's point, and I do want to emphasize Dave's point one more time because I do feel like that is something that I'm just going to bring it back up again. The 50s were a golden age for novelty songs. People are proud to be weird and funny. Now, with that being said, I don't think that he was trying to be weird and funny. Robert Mitchum. I don't think that was. I think he was like literally what Dave said. He fell in love with the island, influenced by the culture, wrapped up in it, probably drank too much rum and said, I want to do a Calypso record. And because he's Robert Mitchum, it happened. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I wish I could do
quickly
that.
book a studio. Let's do a Calypso record. Goes in the studio, makes a Calypso record, and there it is. And there it is for the whole world to hear. So on the other side, it is a fun song. And I should just take it for what it is, Chris, music snob Chris, and just say it's a fun song and just deal with it and just have fun with it. There's no need to overanalyze this.
Listen, but you know what? I've rated songs lower because I just haven't liked the artist before. So if you just can't get past his acting performance and align it with Coconut Water, I'm not gonna be upset.
So in Dave's Dave's comment here, which is literally what I just said. There's a fine line between ridiculous and fun. Coconut Water is on my everyday playlist. See, I could also put this in, and I would say, but I really enjoy Buster Poindexter. But he wasn't like Buster Poindexter was just an alter ego character of David Johansen and Hot Hot Hot, and kind of doing that style of like music and calypso. Once again, a little calypso and salsa, like and he was having fun and while it could be looked at as novelty, actually under Buster Poindexter created a bunch of good songs. So, listen, I don't want to stall anymore. All right,
Dave, here comes.
Have to decide: is it just stupid song, which it probably is, or is it just fun, Chris? Chris, just have fun. So I'm gonna go with Chris. Just have some fun.
Okay.
With this, like, let's just have some. It's just a song.
We're out of the 2 record range now, maybe.
We're out of the 2 record range. I'm not going to give it 2 records.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a 3. I'm just going to give it a 3.
Okay.
It's because if I get myself out of the mindset that this is just a ridiculous song and that everything about it's ridiculous, then I could pull it up and go, Chris, just have fun with the song. It's just a fun one. I've said fun 3,000 times already. So I'm going to go with that.
You're trying to sell yourself on it.
I'm trying to sell myself.
All right, I'll take 3 over 2 all day long.
I will give it 3 records, begrudgingly, because I'm going to go on the fun meter side as opposed to this song is stupid.
Okay. I think I've recovered, and I can go on to your 3 song to me. Your 3 song to me. I can't even speak properly. 3rd song to me.
My 3rd song to you
is Flying Saucers Rock and Roll by Billy Lee Riley. Okay.
Drop the mic.
Okay, so I'll partially agree with this. I mean, is it not the dumbest song ever? Okay, the lyrics are, you guys, you got to listen to these lyrics.
It is an homage to 50's sci-fi.
I understand that, sir. I sure do.
Sorry. I don't mean to yell at you.
I went Southern. I was like, I understand, sir. Yes, I do.
And I felt like I just did some Jersey yelling at you.
See, we turn into people on this show. But, folks, these are the lyrics. Well, the news of the saucer been flying around. I'm the only one to have seen it on the ground. First thing I've seen when I saw it land. Cats. Like, listen, cats. C-A-T-S. Cats jumped down and they formed a band. Flying Saucer Rock and Roll. Flying Saucer Rock and Roll. I couldn't understand a thing they said, but that crazy beat just stopped me dead. So I'll be real. The beat and fun of this song is one thing. The lyrics are just completely another.
It's great. These cats came down from outer space and they started forming a band. I didn't know what they were saying, but man, it was fun. That's exactly what the song's about.
And the song is fun. It took me down the path of, so the fear of UFOs way back in the 50s was totally different than like fear of UFOs now. Like our US government comes out and says like, yeah, there's UFOs, and the public looked at the cameras and essentially said, okay, like no scare tactic, no nothing, like whatever. Yeah. In the 50s, that's not what would have been going on.
Well, and you got to remember too, you also had the Roswell incident had happened, which became a bigger thing later. But at the time, I mean, it was originally, flying saucers, and then it was retracted and it was a weather balloon.
There's always a weather balloon, wink, wink.
Always a weather balloon.
So it's it's a fun song. It's silly. I think the title alone, Flying Saucers Rock and Roll, goes right in line with what's that title of the song that Dave recommended, and does the gum have the taste on the bedpost the next day? So it's a fun, and I think the song is just a fun song, and it does have a really fun, happy beat to it.
It is a novelty song, and it was written in 1957. The interesting thing about Billy Lee Riley, who wrote this song now, right? So Billy Lee Riley actually was a very notable musician back in the time, and his big song "Red Hot" was running up the charts until Great Balls of Fire came out. And Jerry Lee Lewis basically, I'm not inadvertently destroyed his career in the sense that this song was going up, 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 red hot, and then Great Balls of Fire came out, and it was like, wow, forget it. And that's how it goes. I mean, it's not like it was just that's how it went. But one of the things I did want to read real quick, which I thought was interesting, 'cause this was my research into doing more in studying, but like Bob Dylan offered a tribute to him in 2015. And this was I thought this was really touching. And Bob Dylan was really influenced by him, especially the song Red Hot. He goes, he was a true original. He did it all. He played, he sang, he wrote. He would have been a bigger star, but Jerry Lee came along. And you know what happens when someone like that comes along? You just don't stand a chance. So Billy became what is known in the industry, a condescending term, as a one-hit wonder. But sometimes, just sometimes, once in a while, a one-hit wonder can make a powerful impact in a recording star who's got 20 or 30 hits behind him. And Billy's hit song called Red Hot, and it was red hot. It could blast you out of your skull and make you feel happy about it. Change your life.
That's super powerful. And we've often said timing is everything when we're talking music. And I think I just read that, was it Drake that held off on his release because Taylor Swift was doing a release?
Yep.
And he goes, she's the only person I would have ever considered holding off my release, because you have to stand, you got to be able to stand on your own 2 feet.
Yeah, the music business is a music business.
It's a business. And so I love that Bob Dylan was able to respect that, point that out, because to his point, it just takes a person to hear it to do something with it for the future. I love that so much. Yeah. Some people they get outshined.
They really do. And in this case, I mean, and when you talk about it, I mean, Jerry Lee Lewis, I mean, forget it. Like, he's just going to steamroll because that was just his talent and those songs and all that. But to Dave's point, Red Hot was huge. And, but this song, in particular was released before that with Red Hot, actually. And this was just a novelty hit. And it's a fun song. It's a fun 1950s song that for me, like the whole sci-fi craze, the fear of being invaded by the Martians, like all this stuff. I love it. I love it. So, all right. So let's play a little bit of this, because I think it's worth. So Flying Saucers Rock and Roll by Billy Lee Riley. Check this out. It's hard.
I've been a flying around. I don't even want to see it on the ground. First thing I seen when I saw it land, the cats jumped out and they formed the band. I saw the rock and roll.
I mean, jeez.
I saw the rock and roll.
Rockin'.
I couldn't understand things they said about that crazy beat just to stop me dead.
I mean, once again, roots of rock and roll. You can picture the Beatles listening to this. Like, you could hear, like, where it came from, man. Like, it's, this is it. Like, this is the roots of, like, what we're still hearing today. Yeah. And I absolutely love it. You just, once again, time machine. Step right back, put on a record. You go, there you go. That's where it came from. And
it really sounds that decade.
It does.
It has all of the elements. It's a lot.
Jukebox music, man.
Yes. And that's where, when something like this comes on, this is why the dancing changed when this type of music came into play. You can't dance appropriately, or parents thought would be appropriate for this kind of music. You start moving a little differently when you hear stuff like that. You're moving
a little different, taking some chances, taking some risks.
Some chances, that's right.
Some risks are being taken here. Yeah.
So the theme of Flying Saucers Rock and Roll reminds me a bit of Sam the Sham and the Pharaoh's Haunted House.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know that. I'm going to have to listen.
There are some parallels there.
Okay. So where do I rate this song? This gift of flying saucers, rock and roll.
It is a gift.
It really was, because it was fun. It's silly. I loved the sound much better than the lyrics. But I guess, when you hear this song title, Flying Saucers, Rock and Roll, like, you kind of have an idea what you're going to get. And I got it. So I'm going to give this a 3.5. I think it's fun. I think it is totally appropriate for the time. So listen. that puts you ahead as the winner of the 1950s Chris and Amanda Song Swap Showdown. You are the winner.
I'd like to thank everybody for today's show. I just want to thank you all for today's win. No, this was a fun show. And listen, I know that, as we said at the top, it's a little bit different than some of the music that we explore, the typical eras of music that we talk about. But this is why it was on the wheel. You know, you got to mix it up a little bit. And hopefully everybody out there who is listening, checking this out, if you took a chance to click on it and watch it, that you were not only entertained, but also maybe discovered some new music or some facts that you hadn't previously known about. Yeah. So, and that's the whole point of this show. And that's why we swap songs with each other, because it's a musical journey and discovery and finding stuff that maybe we just wouldn't have gone and went and pressed play on our own. In the title of this, we put Unearthing Rare Gems. And really, I mean, all the songs we talked about today, except for Robert Mitchum. No, I'm just kidding. No, the Robert Mitchum song, but what's great about the Robert Mitchum song, once again, is that it is it's a look back of a popular actor of that time making a calypso record. Like, it seems bonkers today. It still seems bonkers, but it works. You know, it works for him, and it is a fun song. But that is a musical discovery. Like, you know, Dave says it's on his playlist. Like, that's a record that I may buy that. I may buy that record if I'm digging through and I see a used copy and I'm like, oh, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna buy it. Like,
absolutely.
Maybe it's fun. It'll be fun, and you know, so that's the musical journey, man. That's the discovery of finding new songs and you know, maybe finding that your next favorite song, like Amanda did today with her funeral parade.
Who would have thought Red River Rock would have me rocking down the town?
Yeah.
And TikToking.
It's
coming, everyone.
Yeah, it's coming. So, all right, everybody. So listen, we typically will spin the wheel of themes at the end of every episode. However, today we're not going to spin the wheel of themes because this is going to be our last regular episode of the year. So starting next week, which will be the first week of December, we're going to move into our holiday shows. And while last year, we usually try to do holiday shows throughout the whole season, and last year we did not have the Wheel of Themes. The Wheel of Themes is a newly instituted thing that we started using this year. Yep. And so, much like we did our Halloween episodes, if you guys enjoyed our Halloween episodes, we spun a Halloween wheel with all different show ideas and picked the next 3 episodes for that month. We are going to do the same thing again for the holidays. So, with that being said, we are going to make a post in our Facebook group for holiday theme suggestions. So please go over there, check it out, go over, use the link in these notes or scan that QR code and join our Facebook group so that way you can participate and get your ideas added to the Wheel of Themes. And then Amanda and I will be doing a holiday special version of, it's like our Little House on the Prairie episode, of Song Swap Showdown, where we're check our Instagram and our socials for the announcement, but I think we're gonna be going live on as of this recording on Sunday to do the picks. So we're going to do that live. So it'll be kind of like a mini show. Yeah. So if anybody wants to join us on that live stream, you can. So we will post info throughout the week on times and all that. We're just solidifying our schedules, but we're going to do that live as a little special bonus episode. And then we will have our lineup for the month of December.
I'm thrilled. And this is our 3rd season of doing Christmas. So we need your ideas so we can have a little bit of a different spin to the upcoming episodes that we do. Because listen, we could just talk about Christmas music all day long, but why not make it a challenge and fun?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Amanda is a huge Christmas fan. I've got a great collection of holiday songs. And we have talked about quite a few holiday songs. So, listen, and if you want to get prepped, go back and watch some of our holiday episodes because we've done some really fun episodes on different songs and different topics. But this year, got to mix it up, got to keep it fresh. Lots of music to always talk about. So we are excited to do this. So once again, check our social channels and we will make that announcement as to when we're doing our live holiday spinning of the wheel for show themes for the month of December. So with all that being said, we are going to wrap it up here today. Thank you, everybody, so much for hanging out with us today. Dave, New Wave Dave, as always, for hanging out. Jim Fisher, thank you, my friend from the UK, for chilling with us. Lit Central Owen, have a great day at school. Thanks for checking in, bud. And, of course, Ian from Australia, who isn't online but always does a great job getting on early and leaving some notes for us. And for everybody else out there who wasn't commenting today, totally okay. Glad you were able to hang out and spend some precious time with us. Definitely check out the show on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button, smash that bell so that way you get notified every time we drop new episodes, and hit that like button, and feel free to share this video with any of friends that you think would like this kind of style of show. And of course, you can listen to us on the go anywhere you get podcasts, because we always drop the audio version of this show the same week that we do the live recording. So make sure you check us out anywhere you get podcasts on there. And that's about it, Amanda. Woo! So much. What a show. What a show. Thank you, Amanda. I love you. Thanks for being an amazing co-host.
Thank you.
Thanks for these songs today.
Yes.
Yes.
I went heavy with our community today, and I thank you for that, Dave. You helped me out this week tremendously, and I agree with you. Chris won because of his poo-pooed Robert Mitchum's coconut water.
The fantastic coconut water.
I agree.
The fun coconut water. That is a record that I know, Dave, for you it's fresh, but that is a record that time has forgotten.
Until this episode.
And now sales of Robert Mitchum's Calypso, what it is? What is it? Oh, is it like so? Calypso, is it like so? LP are now gonna smash through the roof because we were talking about it so much.
I
today.
Expect it to be true.
It's gonna be number one. It's gonna dethrone Taylor Swift.
Love it.
Streams of coconut water are gonna go through the roof today.
Hey, it did at least at my end.
I know it did. Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us today. We really do appreciate it. And we will see you next week on another episode of Chris and Amanda's Song Swap Showdown. Cheers, everyone. To get notified every single time we drop a new episode of Chris and Amanda's Song Swap Showdown, just hit that follow button wherever you get your podcasts. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor of the show, please use the email address in our show notes and we'll get right back to you. And last but not least, please feel free to follow us over on our social accounts on Instagram and TikTok at Song Swap Showdown, or join our ever-growing community in our Facebook group by using the link in our show notes. Thanks for listening.